My boyfriend wants me to apologize to his abusive parents after how they behaved toward us so I don't force him to choose between me and his home. I mostly need to get this off my chest. My 21F boyfriend, Charlie, 21M, lives 15 to 20 minutes away by car. We've been dating for 5 months, and it used to be my pleasure to drive up there and spend a few nights at his place. I knew his parents were abusive and screamed at him for nothing sometimes, physically assaulted him, and took away his phone and computer. He will be able to get out of there by the end of the school year, when he gets an internship. His plan for the future is to have very limited to absolutely no contact with his awful family. I tried to make sure his family liked me, and it worked. I always try to be very agreeable and nice to them, and since they love keeping up appearances anyway, it worked pretty well. Some time ago, I'm going to guess about 3 to 4 weeks ago, I was staying over on a Sunday evening and didn't have my car, because a friend of ours was going to drive us to school in the morning. The parents had been away all day. They came home in the evening pretty drunk, and Charlie's little sister, 17F, went to complain that we ate too much lasagna or something. Okay, sibling trouble. His parents then proceeded to severely overreact to dumb sibling trouble by calling him into the kitchen, berating him, and screaming at him. He apologized and left me in the room while he went there, told me not to worry too much, and said this is normal for him, it happens all the time. So there I was, alone in his room, in the dark, absolutely panicked because nothing terrifies me more than people screaming. Helpless, alone, in danger, and with no way out, because I didn't even have my car there. I had been in this situation before and it went about the same way. I don't know how to really convey how terrified I was. So I was having one hell of a panic attack and crying like I was actively trying to shoot my eyes out of my sockets, and I heard a bang and louder screaming, so I thought they were attacking Charlie. I panicked, some more, and went to the kitchen, again, in tears. I arrived and attempted to say something like, "Is everything okay in here?" It came out as, "What is wrong with you people?" in a broken, tearful, pathetic, screamy voice. Obviously, I still regret this. It sounds like a bad excuse, but I wasn't really in control here. Next thing I know, Charlie's father, a terrifying man, is millimeters away from my face, screaming at me so hard I think he actually spluttered on me. My first instinct was to block him with my arm and push him away as hard as I could. I'm frail, and from there, my boyfriend finished the job by pushing him the hell away. It was a mess. Everyone was screaming. I was trying to get my phone and kept repeating, "I'm calling my dad, I'm calling my dad." In the end, I didn't. I was still sobbing so hard my chest actually hurt. At some point, I thought I couldn't breathe anymore. When Charlie was done pushing the whole family away from me, he gently took me by the shoulders and led me outside to get away and calm down. He was very sweet and patient and seemed to know exactly what to do, including getting me out of there. His mother came out a few times to the doorstep to glare at us wordlessly. Charlie said, "Go away. Can't you see she's not doing well? Can't you see this isn't normal behavior? She's not used to it." She tried arguing that I wasn't supposed to speak to them that way, but he made her leave. He let me calm down and said it was a normal reaction. I kept apologizing and he didn't let me. He let me go inside to pack my bags and talk to his family in the meantime so I didn't have to face them. We left through the window so they wouldn't try to stop us, and went to seek refuge at his aunt's place. Everyone there was very sweet and welcoming. Everyone in the family knows Charlie's mom is a monster. I haven't faced Charlie's parents since. I refused to. Charlie told me he told his mom, "This isn't normal," and she said, "Do you think she's normal, with her gross scars all over her arms?" I used to self-harm, and I haven't done it in years. My scars are very faded. She's just a disgusting, vile woman. The thought of talking to them makes me sick. I ignored them the last time I saw them from far away. Last time I picked up my boyfriend, I was very scared just from being in my locked car in front of the house for 5 minutes. I know I'm not over it and need to process it. I was actually hoping this thread would help me overcome the ADHD and finally text my therapist. My boyfriend seems to understand that I don't want to come back. I told him I probably wouldn't apologize to his parents and didn't want to see them. At least for now, I just can't. He seems to be getting sort of tired of it, though. I feel bad that he has to come over. We both live with our families, though I try to make it as comfortable as possible and my family likes him. He expressed today that he's sort of upset that he has to choose between being home and being with me. I don't think he understands how terrified I was, and I don't know how to tell him so he understands. I have this feeling that he's so used to it, he just thinks I should stop feeling bad after a few days. That's sort of the way he acts sometimes, though he keeps telling me it's all right. I know it bothers him. I don't know what to do. /relevant comments. Commenter. He's getting tired of having to choose between being home and being with me. Well, he's going to have to get used to it. Even if you guys break up and he starts dating someone else, she'll have the same problem too. And the next girl, and the next. No girlfriend is going to want to hang out at his house while the rest of his family screams, shouts, bangs things, and threatens. If he's stuck living at home and he wants to date, then he just has to accept that most of his dates will have to happen outside his house. If he can't accept that, then he needs to be ready to be dumped by girl after girl who likes him but can't stand being guilted into spending time with his crazy family. Commenter 2. This relationship, 5 months, is too young for this much strain. I think your boyfriend is telling you that he's not ready to emotionally check out of his family, and that they are still somewhat of a priority to him, no matter how hateful and violent they are to either of you. As long as that's true, he's not in a position to be in any kind of serious relationship. These people will chase off any woman with half a brain. He simply hasn't faced reality in its entirety yet. That's not to say I blame him. He's still very young, and I'm guessing he hasn't really lived away from home yet. This is familiar to him and, on some level, comfortable. Facing adulthood without your family, even a crappy, nasty family, is scary and lonely. He may just not be there yet. I hope I'm wrong, but I suspect not. Downvoted commenter. You had a terrible experience with a family you've known for 5 months. It's likely that you'll suffer from PTSD after this. Tell him goodbye. Adds an edit to their post. Thank you, I didn't expect so many responses. I don't know how to answer everyone, but I appreciate every response, even those from the people who tried to determine in what context it is okay to assault your child over lasagna. I'd like to stress that the reason I was so panicky is also because they have a history of physical abuse. I ran in when I thought they might be hitting Charlie. I agree I was overreacting. I disagree, though, that I owe them any excuses, because acting appropriately would have been to leave quietly and never cross paths with these people again. Charlie and I are on the same team. We've been talking about this, and I've been translating the comments for him. This post led to a sincere talk about how we were both feeling about it, and that's ultimately what I wanted. I am not going back there, and Charlie agrees with that fully. He said he didn't realize I took it so harshly and was still thinking about it. Obviously, he's not a mind reader. Charlie is getting out in a few months, that's when we all leave the school we're both in for an internship, and until then, we're gonna make it work like this. Thank you. Update 14 months later. What happened in the original post is that I had a boyfriend who had a physically abusive family. He would convince me to stay over at his house all the time because I had a license and he was too lazy to get his. He insisted I play nice with his disgusting family so his life would be easier. I did so because I had a lot of sympathy for his situation. He knew about my history of abuse and how scared I was of his father, and how terrified I could get of everything sometimes, PTSD, but he still nagged me to stay over at his place because he didn't feel like going over to mine. That particular night, he convinced me to stay over without my car, as a friend would pick us up to go to school in the morning. I forget why I didn't have my car, sorry. His parents came home and started screaming at him. What I described as a panic attack was an emotional flashback to severe childhood abuse. When I heard what sounded like someone hitting my ex in the kitchen, I went there because I was afraid for him and reverted to what would sometimes end the screaming matches in my family when I was younger and my brother was there, crying out for them to stop. In my family, it would lead to them switching from screaming to insulting me and being mad at me more quietly. I don't know why this works. Here, it resulted in the father screaming in my face and me pushing him away instinctively. Some posters commented on me saying I'll call my dad and not doing it. I didn't explain that I wouldn't have called my dad, as I felt like this was all my fault. I said that to introduce the idea that another adult could hear them behave this way and see if it would affect their behavior. Later, we had to flee out of the window to go to my ex's aunt's. My ex caught me writing the last post, laughed at comments that said he shouldn't want me to go back there, and agreed with comments that said my decision was stupid, which I guess it was. I didn't dare talk back to commenters and pretended like my ex 100% rejected his parents and was a good person. What I didn't say is that he never got a job during the summer despite multiple family members offering him easy gigs, always wanted to go out for fast food and let me pay, and told me that not everyone was as wealthy as I was when I complained. I'd gotten a summer job at a clinic despite crippling yet undiagnosed PTSD making me cry and hurt myself every morning and evening because I was so scared of interacting with people. 2 months after that post, he got tired of coming over and nagged me into apologizing to his parents. I went back, despite being absolutely terrified just being in the house. When he stayed over at my place, where my parents left us alone, he stayed up all night playing Fortnite despite me telling him I couldn't sleep. He didn't care, I was severely sleep deprived all the time. He would smoke on the balcony despite me asking him not to, stomp around the house at night when everyone was asleep, and then sleep until sometimes 6 p.m., leaving me to wait around the house for him until it was dark and the day was practically over for me. He had no respect for the routine I'd set up for myself to exercise, be healthy, and keep my head above water. He got mad at me the one time I self-harmed, hit myself without thinking and left a bruise during a breakdown that took me days to recover from, then told his female friend over Discord what I'd done after she admitted to doing the same, after he comforted her the way he never comforted me and told her she was beautiful and unique. I had to buy him his tobacco, smoking papers, and filters to keep him from being horrible. He said he couldn't help it when he didn't smoke for a while. At the time, I was still trying to quit smoking, and he kept giving me cigarettes and smoking around me, and not having a cigarette made me upset but not to the point of being mean to my partner. He never brushed his teeth. Got really mad at me when I asked him to brush his teeth and ignored me. Combine this with 20 cigarettes a day. I was prescribed Paxil, and it did nothing but give me bad side effects. When I went off it, it gave me terrible withdrawal symptoms, weird electric shocks, flu-like symptoms, and terrible, terrible despair and crying. I once spent an entire night crying my eyes out and being sick while he ignored me and played Fortnite, not even turning off the screen to let me sleep. He would punch walls when he was mad. I would show up at his house to go to our planned date, and he would be drunk, and I had to sit down and wait for hours until he could move without puking. He would tell me he'd come to my house in the evening and be 5 hours late. Once he literally went to the cinema with a friend without telling me after he said he'd come over. He laughed at me when I was upset. He dragged me to parties when I said I was afraid of people yelling and being drunk. He got mad at me until I went. He was either upset at me when I had to leave because I was terrified, or pretended to care about my well-being for 5 minutes and stayed at the party while I drove home sobbing, until he drank a bottle of vodka and ate 5 edibles at once because he thought that was some weak crap. Then I had to come pick him up in my pajamas and hold him all night until he stopped crying about people's faces being made of colors. But you know the very worst thing in that relationship? I stayed while he was passed out drunk. I kept giving my money away after I said I didn't like it. I bought him more cigarettes. I didn't kick him out of my house. I drove him everywhere. I let him make fun of me and mess with my head. I went back to his abusive household and played nice. So much of it is on me. I'm so very mad at him, but really I am so mad at myself. I can't believe this was all I thought I was worth. I moved to the UK from the south of France in May for an internship. I left him after he told me I was just too lazy to make food and I should stop complaining because he's got real problems, in response to me being exhausted all the time and being literally too scared to go outside and go grocery shopping. Panic attack level scared. His problems were him doing badly in school and not caring about it, and sleep apnea I'd been trying to get him to see the doctor about and treat for 6 months. At this point, he still wasn't trying to move out and was content letting his mom iron his t-shirts and playing video games all day and night while being silent on Discord calls with me. I'm still in the UK. I've made a few friends. I discovered I have CPTSD. It's very hard and I've been very alone. I feel a lot of shame. I've been making sense of my life and relationships up until now. I needed to write this somewhere people will see it. You don't have to stay with people who let you cry your eyes out over your dead cat while ignoring you and complaining that your parents' food is disgusting and he wants to go to Burger King. And let you pay for it. Unlikely thanks to that one commenter on my previous post who said I probably have PTSD and I should get out of that clusterflop, that we all laughed at and downvoted at the time. Cheers, mate. /relevant comments. Commenter. In the previous post, I wondered how he didn't end up an abuser, growing up in a household like that. After your update, I realized he did. I hope you're in treatment for your CPTSD and your life gets better soon. Sounds like you have some codependency issues as well, which often come along with PTSD and childhood abuse. Ops response. Yeah, I blame codependency for a lot of the domestic abuse I've gone through in my life. I used to date people thinking they would save me from my life. I didn't think that way anymore when I met him, but he appealed to the shreds of codependency I still had by being clingy as hell, love bombing me, and trying to make me feel like it was us versus the world. Which I hated every second of, but still stayed because we were in the same class and I probably deserved it. I'm in the process of getting referred to a trauma specialist. Thank you very much for your comment. Commenter 2. I'm really glad you got out of that situation. Please never have contact with him again. He is beyond your help, beyond significant change, and not fit for a relationship. It's scary how many people post about horrendous relationships. I understand because I was in one for a long time. But because I got out of it, I get so frustrated by people who are back where I was, because I remember how frustrating it felt for me. Those relationships are like black voids, and people think they can somehow keep digging to get to a better place. But the only way it gets better is to claw your way back to the top, back to where you started. Continuing with these people only gets you further down a black hole. There is no light at the end, you only get further away from it. Ops response. It's scary how easy it is for me to get stuck in a horrible relationship and just stay. In this case, he wasn't evil like some previous abusers. He was, entirely honestly, just really stupid. I'm not kidding, the man was incredibly dumb. He was selfish in the way little children are when they haven't realized other people also have feelings. I'm actually still amazed at how this dude even survived 22 years. Though, thinking about it now, he did so by being a parasite, obviously. Up in the comments 6 years later. What the F is that, me? This is so surreal, lol. To anyone worried about my mental health, I'm doing fine. I fast-tracked maturing over a couple of years after moving out of my parents' house. I was in arrested development for years while I was still there, and now, 8 years later, I'm practically a normal person. I live in Sweden with a normal partner and a cat, who is, admittedly, mean to me sometimes. The cycle of abuse continues? I did not enjoy rereading all that, LMFAO, it feels like it was lifetimes ago.